Okay, guys, welcome to our continuing education webinar tonight. Tonight we are going to talk about toxin, stress, and rest. Oh my! This is just a fun topic, and I love talking about stuff like this. So my name is Nicole Vincent. I am a certified holistic health coach and an essential oil lover. So here is my awesome family. I've got 4 kids and an awesome husband that I just adore. And I have been sharing about essential oils and holistic health for about 4 years now. And I am very passionate about it. And I'm passionate about teaching people that there's another way to help people kind of feel empowered and open their minds to the possibilities of new ideas and new ways of thinking that can better them and empower them. So that's what I'm here to teach you guys tonight. And first off, I am not a doctor, so I'm not here to prescribe, treat, prevent, cure, anything. I'm just here to educate and share. So if you're newer to essential oils, this might be kind of a little bit, you might need to go back a little bit, but for the most part, you'll be able to understand it, okay? So we're going to be using a holistic approach in this. I'm trying to move my chat box to a good place where I can actually, I'm just going to close the chat box. It'll give me a warning if somebody has a question. But the holistic approach, we're going to be looking at using that to look at ways to reduce toxins in our life, reduce stress in our lives, and to increase rest. And I love this approach because it really looks at the being that we are in all areas: mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional. And they're all interconnected, and you can't affect one without affecting the other. And that's something that was a new concept to me before I was introduced to essential oils and natural things and stuff. But the more I learn about that, the more I study the body, the emotions, all this stuff, the more I believe that. So I'm actually going to turn my screen off for the PowerPoint for a minute, and we're gonna do a little whiteboard. I was going to try and do the whiteboard here on the Zoom, but I couldn't draw very well on it. So we're going to go old school, okay? And this is just a visual to help you guys understand how everything is interconnected. So we're going to pretend this is us. This is our life, and our life is like a tire, okay? We've got our physical, our emotional, our mental, and our spiritual. Now, in every area, we're going to have different strengths and weaknesses, right? And so for me, and you can't see me, so you just imagine I'm here. So I'm going to do this for me. So with physical, I am allergic to exercise. I don't like exercise. I do like sitting on my butt in front of my computer all day working on stuff. So that's why webinars work so well for me. So I really don't like physical. So I would rate myself down here somewhere. Okay. Now in emotional, I'm pretty good there. I would say I'm probably up here. So I'm doing pretty good in emotional. Okay, mental. Again, I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to say probably down here, probably middle of the range. Spiritual, I'd probably say about middle of the range, okay? So if you look at this and imagine it's a tire, you can see I'm a little lopsided. So we either need to work on bringing this up a little bit, maybe work on bringing this down a little bit to have a little bit more balance in our life. But everything affects the other. And so I just wanted to show you that to kind of get the wheels turning in your head to understand how the different areas affect our entire existence, okay? Now, let's get back to the PowerPoint. So that's just kind of to get that holistic mindset. And if you have questions, you are welcome to type them in the chat box, and I will answer them as I'm able to. Okay. So this is the wellness pyramid. If you're in doTERRA, you've probably seen this before. And I think in our society, in our culture, in America, we tend to be kind of the other way around. We think that the doctors and medicine should fix us and that we are helpless victims and we don't have any control. That is at least that was my mentality before I knew better, before I had a better understanding of how everything worked. But the more I learn, the more I totally believe this is true. You've got to have that spiritual foundation. You got to eat right. You've got to exercise. I'm still working on that. Remember, my tire's a little flat in that area. You've got to rest and manage stress. You've got to work on reducing your toxic load. And then when stuff happens, sometimes you are going to have some problems. Have some informed self-care. Use your essential oils, things like that. And then there is a time and a place for seeking medical and professional help, right? There is that. Doctors are a blessing. I'm not anti-doctors. I'm not anti-medication. I just think that that doesn't need to be our first go-to and our excuse for everything. So let's start off by talking about stress, the good versus bad. Now, stress serves a purpose in our life. It helps us get moving. It helps us accomplish things, and it helps us tire our body out so that we're able to sleep at night. Now, in our society, a lot of us are doing what I'm doing right now, sitting in front of a computer, working, right? Now, mentally, that might be exhausting, but to our body, it's not very exhausting. And so when we try to go to sleep after sitting at a computer all day, our bodies can have a hard time sleeping because we haven't really reached that point of physical fatigue. We might have mental fatigue, but we might not have physical fatigue. That's another reason physical exertment is important, whether it be through, an actual exercise class or going for a walk or chasing after kids, cleaning your house, whatever that entails. But it does serve a purpose and it does help us get things done. Now, when we have a problem is when we cross that curve into that point of exhaustion, and then we start breaking down. We've all been to that place, right, where we don't have enough sleep. We are just beyond exhausted. We are at our wits' end. We are crying for no reason because we're so tired. You're just having breakdowns. You start freaking out about the littlest things. And sometimes that state of being goes on for a while. I know, especially when you have small children, babies that you're getting night after night after night of no sleep, or year after year of no sleep, especially if you have them back to back, you're in that breakdown section and that burnout section a lot more frequently. Now, what happens to the body when we have this stress? So some of that stress can be good to a point. Now, if we are stressing out, maybe we're planning something really exciting. Maybe we're getting married and we're planning our wedding and we're so excited. We get to plan the wedding of our dreams. We don't have any budget. Not reality. But just imagine that, okay? That's super happy. It's super exciting. But your body doesn't know the difference between super excited, planning the wedding, trying to get everything done, versus, oh shoot, a tiger is running after me and I have to get safe. Your body is going to chemically react the same way. So this is the fight versus flight response. And sometimes freeze, that paralysis, and you don't know what to act. Your brain is so overwhelmed, you shut down. That for me is a very common occurrence. I will get overwhelmed and it's just like, I'm frozen. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to proceed from here. And logically, yes, I should be able to do this, but it doesn't work out for me. And we have that response sometimes. So when we are experiencing this state, and this is when our parasympathetic nervous system is releasing adrenaline. Now, if it's releasing adrenaline, releasing cortisol, and doing this over time continuously, we're going to have a lot of problems. Okay, our brain is and this little image down here on the bottom right. The brain is trying to get the body ready for action. Now, that adrenaline is released, the blood pressure rises, the liver is going to release glucose to provide energy for our muscles to run. Our digestion will slow down or cease completely. That means like sphincters close, stuff is not going to move anywhere. cortisol is released to help depress the immune system, because we don't want to spend energy fighting off pathogens. We want to spend all our energy on either fleeing or fighting. Those are the signals that we're giving our body when we're in that stress mode. Now, if we are, and then noticeable that you'll actually feel pupils are going to dilate, your mouth might go dry, your shoulders tense up, heart is going to pump faster, you might have chest pains or palpitations, sweating, your breathing can increase as you need more oxygen for your muscles. Now, this isn't okay. Our body is designed to do this. And there are instances where we do need to do this, right? Maybe there's somebody, we come home and there's somebody in our house that's not supposed to be there. Or maybe that tiger is running after us. It's there for a reason. But a lot of times it's in that state for an extended period of time. And so our body is pumping all these neurotransmitters, and it's freaking out. It doesn't know how to chill out. So that's what I kind of want you guys to think about as we're talking about stress. So the first area of stress is going to be physical stress. So this means we've been working out too much or not enough. We haven't been sleeping well. We have poor nutrition. We're not resting like we should. We're not having good supplementation. We're either gaining weight, and so that's causing a physical stress on our bodies, or maybe we're underweight. And all of these different imbalances can jack up our system, okay? As our body is secreting all these different neurotransmitters, you're gonna have a lot of problems. So cortisol, for example, that is our stress hormone. As it's released, number one, it's going to depress the immune system. So you're gonna have decreased immune function. You're going to have decreased GI function, digestive function. Those are not good things, right? So some things that we can do to help support physical stress, because it's going to happen. We are going to work out. Well, I'm not going to work out, but maybe you might work out. I might work out someday. It's on the list of goals to someday desire to do. I got to do it before I get 40 and start getting that mature weight. So I only got a few years on that. But oils that can, things that can help us sleep better, and things that can help us get the essential vitamins and minerals our body needs. If our body is not getting the right pieces and the right tools, it cannot function properly. And so that is also going to lead to physical stress. So for example, like the Lifelong Vitality Pack or the Daily Nutrient Pack, these are two supplement systems. The only difference is one has the Lifelong Vitality Pack has an additional supplement called the Alpha CRS, which is an antioxidant cellular vitality blend. And the Daily Nutrient Pack just has your Microplex, which is your multivitamin, and your Z Omega, which is your essential fatty acids. And so having those is going to supply your body with vital and essential vitamins and minerals, essential fatty acids that give your body the right tools to handle these physical stresses. Because these bodies are miracles, guys. They were designed to handle stress. They really were. But, and this is a capital B-U-T, we inundate them with so many stresses. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the toxin section. But you've got to give it the right tools so that it can rebound from these stresses and start balancing out those hormones. Lavender, for example, is a really good balancer of cortisol. So if you're having increased levels of cortisol because you're having sustained periods of stress, then lavender can actually help decrease those cortisol levels. Balance is an amazing, amazing oil for helping the body balance and reach that state of homeostasis. It also really helps with the electrical system within our body to make sure that the right messages are being given and received in our cells and in our neurological system. So moderate physical activity, make sure you're getting your body out there. Deep blue rub is really great for those occasional aches and pains that can happen from regular exercise, regular activity. Past tense is another one that just helps ease tension. The aroma touch technique, if you have not experienced an aroma touch technique, guys, I highly recommend you find somebody in your area that can give you one, or you can go to aromatouchtechnique.com. And I believe that there's videos on there now where you can actually learn how to do it yourself. It is very advantageous to go to a training course with a trained instructor. I am one of those trained instructors, but to see it hands-on, to be guided by an instructor to help you know how to do it correctly and understand the true benefits of the aroma touch technique. So lots of ways to help support our body in physical stress. Now, mental stress. This is one that I tend to have quite a bit just because I'm a busy mom and businesswoman, and there's just a lot going on. So signs of imbalance, signs of mental stress, foggy brain. Have you guys had that where you just like, it is just a cloud in there? Head tension, overwhelm, problems focusing, blurred vision, just wanting to just say, you know what, forget it all. That's how I get when I get overwhelmed. But there are ways that we can deal with this. So some practices to do. Meditation can be huge. This is something now, I have a very, very busy, hard to focus brain. My brain is basically like a mall food court on Black Friday all the time. And so there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of just thoughts going in every different direction, just lots of different neurons firing all the time in my brain. So there is a lot of benefits to, there are a lot of benefits to being able to learn how to quiet your brain down, and that's what meditation can do. And if that's something that's new to you, I encourage you to look into that, because I always thought meditation was weird. I'm like, I don't know, that's what weird Chinese people do or something. I didn't know really what it was, but really it's just learning how to quiet the brain and be still, which is so hard in our world because we're so busy and we've got so many things coming at us from so many different directions. So meditation can be very good to help with mental stress. Some other oils and products that can help, the Lifelong Vitality Pack or the Daily Nutrient Pack, for me are huge for mental stress, in supporting that, because again, our body needs the right pieces to function properly, and that includes our brain. DDR Prime is a really great supplement. It's an oil blend. It comes in an oil or a soft gel. I prefer the soft gel, and I take that twice a day to help support my mental health and my focus. It really helps a lot. Intune is an oil blend that you can apply on the back of the neck to help with focusing and mental clarity as well. Again, past tense, it helps with that tension. So sometimes if we're just like stressed out up here, we'll get the tension here in the back of the neck. So past tense is really good to put along the back of the neck, those muscles right there. Basil is a really great oil. It is the oil that helps with mental overwhelm and fatigue. And so is lemon. And so both of those oils, I like to stick those in the diffuser to help with when I'm feeling mentally overwhelmed. Because sometimes it gets a little crazy. We just need a little breather, especially if we're trying to learn a lot of things. You're studying and your brain just gets crazy. Stick some basil and lemon in the diffuser, and it really does help you not only remember stuff, but helps you to not feel that overwhelm that can happen with mental stress. Okay, emotional stress. Now, if you've never listened to me before, then I'm going to tell you a few key things about emotion. If you have listened to me before, then you've already heard this probably. But our emotions have a direct link to how we feel and how our body reacts and has chemical reactions. And so when we experience an emotion, and we're experiencing emotions all the time, we're happy, we're sad, we're frustrated, we're angry, we're discouraged, we're sad, whatever, lots of different emotions. And those are going to create chemical reactions in our body, and they create a thing called peptides, and those are going to help steer our cells and control what's going on in our body. Now, if we try to ignore emotions or stuff emotions, then they can wreak havoc. Those emotions need to be released, or at least acknowledged. And some signs of emotional stress or emotional imbalance are feelings of being down or blue, feeling anxious, being weepy, or being apathetic or numb. For me, that was my go-to, was just being numb, kind of that checked out place, because hey, if I was numb, I wasn't going to hurt, because I tend to have those down feelings. And it was painful. And so it was easier to go numb than to experience those. And one of the first things I noticed as I started using essential oils is that I started feeling again. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I haven't felt anything in like 20 years. And it was a really refreshing and scary thing all at the same time. But these beautiful essential oils that we've been blessed with, they have great physical properties, but emotionally they are huge supports and can really help support our emotional well-being as well. And so for me, they were kind of detoxifying me emotionally and helping me be able to feel again. And that really started me on a journey. I'm like, what is going on? And so I started learning about the emotional physical connection, and how essential oils are also affecting us on an emotional level, and just how everything ties together in this amazing body we've been given. So, and I can share some resources with you at the end after we're done recording. But oils that can help with emotional stress. Peppermint. Peppermint is the oil of a buoyant heart. That is kind of its title for emotional health. But peppermint emotionally is going to help you kind of catch a breather. So if you're going through some really hard emotions and you're really stressed out with these emotions, sometimes you just need to catch your breath. And peppermint does that. And when we're using the oils for emotional support, I actually teach an entire webinar just on oils and emotion. But when we're using oils for emotional support, I like to use them aromatically in most cases. So I'll put a drop of oil on the palm of my hand. I'll rub my hands together, and then I'll cup them over my nose and mouth and breathe in. And peppermint is just like a sigh of relief. And possibly some of you guys listening tonight have experienced that. I know peppermint was one of the first oils that I smelled at my first oil class. And it was just like, oh, it was a sigh of relief, and it just felt like a break. And I really enjoy peppermint. But be careful with peppermint. It's okay to take a break, but you still have got to sort through those emotions. So don't overuse peppermint for that purpose, because it can kind of retard the progression of emotional healing if used over time. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Cypress is the oil of motion and flow. So if you're kind of in the apathetic or numb place, or you're like, I don't have emotion, that's kind of where I was. Cypress is really good at helping you feel flexible and flow with life, and being able to be open to emotional growth. And I don't know what it is about your 30s, but it's kind of like this awakening of like, oh my gosh, like I've got all this emotional baggage I've got to deal with and weed through and process before I can progress, before I can get to the next level of who I'm supposed to be. And so that's kind of where a lot of this stems from. It's my journey here. Serenity is the oil of forgiveness, not only of others, but the forgiveness of self as well. So I think a lot of times we can be our own worst enemy. And so I know for me personally, I hold myself to a ridiculous standard, and emotionally, I don't have a very easy time forgiving myself for mistakes I've made. And so serenity for me is very comforting and helps me, reminds me, hey, you've been forgiven. You've done it. You're good. We can move on from here. And then Console and all of the other oils in our emotional aromatherapy kit that just came out in September are amazing to help with emotional stress. Bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance. And when we accept ourselves, we can let go of a lot of stress, I think. Thyme is the oil of releasing and forgiving others as well. Another technique to help along with the oils, and the oils can be used in conjunction with different techniques to help with emotional release. But, of course, therapy or whatever works for you. There's a technique called write and burn. It's where you write, you can write a letter or just write down a bunch of stuff and then you can tear it up and burn it. It's just a really good release that way. Journaling can be very good. EFT or tapping is a technique that I personally like. It's an acupressure technique that helps kind of reset your limbic system. And if that's something you're interested in, there's a really great Facebook page called The Tapping Source, I believe it is. And that's something that I feel for me has been very beneficial. You look hilarious doing it because you're tapping at different pressure points on your body, but it works amazingly well for emotional support. So spiritual stress, this is something that I think a lot of times, sorry about that, a lot of times we tend to ignore or not give enough weight to. And I'm not here to get religious on you or to put my beliefs on you, but we have a desire for a spiritual connection. I think that's kind of a root part of being human. And whatever that looks like for you, please translate this into your own belief system. But if you're not living your moral code and following your rights and wrongs, that's going to cause spiritual imbalance. If you're not making your spiritual life a priority, or it's on the back burner or it's non-existent, that can cause spiritual stress. If you're feeling distance from God for whatever reason, if you're having anger or hate towards someone or something, if you're feeling disconnected from yourself, disconnected from other people, that can cause spiritual stress as well. Or if you're questioning your belief system. So those things can really wreak havoc on how we are feeling and add to that stress load. So oils that can help and different practices that can help. Of course, let's go with the practices first. So prayer is huge in my belief system, as is personal worship, and meditation can be really big too. For me, since I am crazy brain, just very, very loud, noisy brain, I really couple prayer with meditation so that I'm able to quiet my brain, that I'm able to feel that communication between me and my higher power. So don't ignore this area, guys. It really deserves visiting and giving some nourishment to, I believe, on a daily basis. And it can look like different things for different people. So Arbor Vitae is the oil of, hold on, let me get the right title here. I've got papers all over my desk. It's the oil of divine grace. So this oil emotionally is going to help you kind of put it in God's hands and not feel that you have to do everything yourself. I am fiercely independent, almost to a fault. And a lot of times I feel that I have to fix it, or I have to push through it on my own, or I have to figure it all out on my own, when a lot of times it's like, God's like, you just need to ask me and I'm going to help you out here. So Arbor Vitae helps you kind of surrender to God's will. Melissa is the oil of light, and it helps you have that connection, as does Immortelle. Immortelle is the oil of, let me get the right title, spiritual insight. So if you are seeking some spiritual insight, Immortelle can be a really great oil to couple with your prayer, meditation, or personal worship. Sandalwood is the oil of sacred devotions. So I really like to do that, use sandalwood. And sandalwood is one of the oils in Immortelle for during prayer and meditation as well. So that's our stress section, okay? So hopefully that gave you some ideas of sources of stress and ways that you can help manage it. I don't think there's any way to avoid stress completely in our life. It does serve a purpose. But that being said, we need to be able to manage it so that it's not ruling us. We want to control the stress so it's not controlling us. And we want to act instead of react. So if you are aware, if you're like, okay, I need to be looking at these different areas of my life and what areas can use a little bit of improvement, what maybe needs to get turned up a little bit, what needs to get turned down a little bit, how can I get some balance here? So let's look at the toxins. So with toxins, we're going to be talking about the same 4 areas. So hopefully this will open your eyes a little bit on to where we can have different sources of toxic exposure. So we want to look in, on, and around you. They can be everywhere. They're going to come from various sources, and our bodies can handle some toxins, but not all toxins. And the same applies to stress. Our body, again, they're miracles. They were designed to handle a certain amount of toxic load, and it's a beautiful thing. The problem is we inundate our bodies with toxins from every direction possible, to what we smell, what we eat, what we drink, what we put on our bodies, what we feel, what we watch. All these different things compound, and our body is just inundated with toxins, and it can't do it anymore, and so it starts breaking down. So let's look at physical toxins. This is probably the most obvious area when we're talking about toxic exposure. Things like air quality, products we use on our bodies. Think about cosmetics, shampoos, different moisturizers, different bug sprays, anything we put on our skin. Artificial scents, so candles, different air fresheners, plug-in things, all that different stuff. Those are artificial, synthetic, chemical things that we are having to process. If we smell it, our body is having to process it. Processed foods. There are so many chemicals, preservatives, and artificial things in processed foods. Our body can't handle it. Artificially dyed foods. Did you guys know artificial dyes are made from petroleum products? So when you're eating that red dye number 40 in your big red soda or whatever you're partaking of, it's like drinking oil, and our body doesn't know how to handle those. So, and it's going to cause a lot of other health implications that a lot of times go unnoticed or misunderstood. Cleaning products are another big source of physical toxins. So those can definitely play a contributing role to our toxic load. So different oils and products that we can use. doTERRA has an amazing line of fabulous products, guys. So we've got On Guard toothpaste, On Guard cleaner concentrate, On Guard laundry detergent, On Guard hand soap, On Guard throat drops. So lots of things that can replace stuff that you probably already use, but with healthy alternatives that are not going to add to your toxic load. You can use oils to make various cleaning products because the oils they're great at sanitizing and purifying surfaces. We have awesome skincare lines that are non-toxic. We have an amazing hair care line. Lots of different products in our line, in our doTERRA catalog to help you reduce that toxic load. Eat whole foods. Don't buy food-like substances that are in a box. Now, can you do those once in a while? Sure. But if you're doing it night after night after night, then your body is going to, it can't handle that load. You can use oils to purify or freshen the air. I love to diffuse my oils for those reasons. And then citrus oils, taking those internally really help remove toxins that we already have in our body. So there is some detoxing that needs to happen for, I think, pretty much everybody to one degree or another, just because of our society. So unless you've been growing up in a cabin in the woods and everything's been pristine, then you probably have some detoxing to do. And I actually have a webinar on that. So if that's something you're interested in, you can get my contact information here at the end of this webinar, and I can set you up with that. Mental toxin. This is something that a lot of us don't even think about, but our thoughts produce chemicals that can be toxic. And a lot of it, we don't even realize that we're doing it. So negative self-talk. If we are telling ourselves, you're stupid, you're worthless, oh, you idiot, you did it again. If we're having thoughts like that about ourselves, those are toxic thoughts. Those are going to have a very profound effect on how we feel, on how our health goes and how our life goes. Negative thoughts about others. Maybe you're not having negative thoughts about yourself, but maybe you are judging everybody else around you. Those can be very toxic as well. Pornography, violence, negative media, negative music, all these things that we expose ourselves to can be toxic. So for an example, and different things can be toxic to different people. So when my husband and I first got married, we loved watching CSI. And I remember I got married really young. I was like 20. And so I was probably like 21 when we were watching this. And they have this really gory autopsy that just it really disturbed me. And I couldn't watch CSI after that. It really shook me. Like, it gave me nightmares and everything. So I knew that for me, that was toxic. So I stopped watching CSI, and I've never watched it since. And I've never watched any other, medical dramas like that have anything like that, because I know, to me, it doesn't jive with me. And that doesn't mean that it might not jive with somebody else, but know what your limits are, and know what you're putting into your mind and your thoughts, because it's powerful, guys, and you have a choice what you put in. So be mindful of that. Oils and products to help with this. Frankincense. This is the oil of truth. This oil is amazing for helping you recognize truth. And sometimes truth can be a little bit muddled, right? Especially if we've been having the same negative thoughts for a long time, maybe since we were a little kid. And frankincense can help you kind of take that step back and say, okay, my thought is I'm stupid. Well, take a step back. Am I really stupid, or did I just make a stupid choice? There's a difference there. And so it can help you kind of sort those out. Cilantro is the oil of, which one is that? Of releasing control. Because sometimes we turn into control freaks, right? And we can't, or maybe perfectionism. Cilantro is really good at helping release those tendencies. Basil, again, is the oil of renewal, and it just helps us feel renewed and not feel tired. Because sometimes negative self-talk or other things that we expose our mind to can be incredibly mentally fatiguing and toxic to our lives. Elevation is an amazing oil. It is the oil of joy. So if you're having a lot of negative self-talk, let's find some joy. Let's find some happiness and change that negative self-talk. Bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance. So if we can accept ourselves, we can have a more peaceful mind and a less toxic mind. So other practices that we can do, we can utilize affirmations. If you're new to affirmations, you can just Google affirmations, like how to do affirmations. But affirmations are typically I am statements. So you would say something like, I am a nurturing woman. And even if I'm not feeling like that's the truth, I can keep telling myself that. If I keep focusing on that, then that is a lot more positive than I am the worst mother ever. And that's, for me personally, something that I struggle with. And so affirmations can be very powerful and positive things to introduce, especially if you're having a lot of negative thoughts. Addiction recovery. So if you do have addictions to pornography or video games, especially the video games that have like violent content and things like that, there are fabulous different addiction recovery programs out there if you're not able to break that habit on your own, because pornography is one of the most addictive things out there. And it is incredibly damaging, not only to the person that is watching the pornography, but to everybody around them, because it changes their perception of reality. But we're not going to go into that. So look into addiction recovery if you've got issues there. Emotional toxins. And I was actually shocked that I could find an image to go with this, but they actually had emotional toxicity. So when we're all going to experience negative emotions, right? We're all going to get angry sometimes. We're all going to get mad sometimes. And I used to think that those were bad. You don't get angry. You don't get mad. Everybody needs to like you. Well, it's okay to feel angry. What's not okay is to dwell on that anger and feed that anger and nurture that anger and turn that anger into your little anger baby. And then it grows into an anger monster and that gets unleashed on everyone around you. That's not good. So that can be very, very toxic. Being around people that are emotional leeches or emotional vacuums. Can you guys think of anybody in your life like that? I know I have some people that I cannot be around them very long because it's just like they emotionally drain me. And it just is so yucky. And it's tough. Other sources of emotional toxins, childhood issues or childhood trauma, or even trauma that maybe, issues that happen after that. But a lot of times those childhood things, they're very impactful on our well-being, on who we are. And if we never handle those and process them, then they can kind of turn into angry, grown-up monsters that are going to wreak a lot of havoc. And if it's not wreaking emotional havoc, I can promise you it's going to wreak physical havoc on your body. And I can show you, I can talk to you at the end about some resources there. So judging yourself or judging others can be very emotionally toxic. Comparing yourself to one another and having a hard time there. If you are having that emotional toxin, not only are these going to not help you with peace, they are actually creating chemical toxins within your body from these emotions. So you're going to have toxic chemistry in your body from experiencing and dwelling on these emotions and not just releasing them. If you're not having boundaries with people, that's going to be a really, really hard thing as well. And generational patterns. They actually did a study so back up. So generational patterns, what I mean from that is that stuff can be passed not only behaviorally, but in your DNA as well. And they did a study on Holocaust descendants, and they were able to trace in the DNA the trauma from their Holocaust ancestors. And so that trauma can be passed through in DNA. So be aware of that can happen. DDR prime is a really great oil to help with that issue. It helps the DNA get back to what it's supposed to be and supports that healthy cellular replication so that you're making good copies and that you're leaving that junk coding that happened because one of your ancestors was severely abused that got passed on to you. And that can, really help kind of iron that out. Cardamom is a really great oil to help with supporting you if you are very judgmental and prone to being a hothead. Maybe you just kind of fly off the handle sometimes for no apparent reason. Cardamom might be a really good oil to help you be a little bit more even-keeled and not be so judgmental. Clove is the oil of boundaries, so it really helps you say, you know what, here's the line, don't cross it. Because sometimes we turn into doormats, right? We're like, just walk all over me. I just want you to like me. I just want you to approve of me. Sometimes we need to say no, and clove is a really great oil to do that. Coriander is the oil of integrity and loyalty. So if you feel that you're maybe being disloyal to yourself by putting everybody else first and you're not taking care of yourself, coriander can be a great oil to use. And then geranium is the oil of trust and love. So if you've had issues in the past where it has been, trust has been broken or love has been denied, then geranium can help with that. And then white fir is the oil of generational healing. So lots of great things there. So be aware of the negative emotions that are happening in your life because they can be very toxic, not only in your thought processes and your feelings, but physically as well. And then spiritual toxins. I'm not going to dwell a lot here because I don't want to be too controversial, but there are forces there. If you call it Satan, adversary, devil, whatever, be aware that those are out there. Prayer is powerful. Terra Shield is the oil to help shield as On Guard is. So lots of great things out there to help support that. So time to rest. We've got to let our bodies rest. We've got to let them relax and rejuvenate, right? So first off, we want to rest on a physical level. Now, I know for me, I am addicted to my phone. I love my phone, and I love it probably too much. It's by me all the time. And so I really have to be mindful of limiting my screen time before I go to bed. Because what happens, especially if you're doing something on your phone that excites your brain. So I like to play those little matching games like Candy Crush, but I don't like Candy Crush, but the little matching games, you know, and it's like it gives little drips of dopamine to your brain. Say, ooh, I like that. And so if you're doing that before you're trying to rest, your body is going to have a really hard time resting because chemically it's not in a resting state. Bedtime is for sleeping or intimate things. So don't sit in your bed for hours on end reading or watching TV. Really try just to be in your bed when it's time to go to sleep. Dim your lights later on in the evening to help your body start getting the right signals that, hey, it's time to go to bed. I'm so bad about this because I really like it bright. And so I will have every light on in the room, and I really got to be better about dimming those lights to kind of get that trigger to my body to say, okay, it's time to start releasing some melatonin to help my body start calming down. During the day, take a 20 to 30 minute nap to recharge in the afternoon. And you don't actually have to sleep, but just getting horizontal sometimes can really help get your body that little midday reset to help it be able to continue throughout the day. Now, taking a nap longer than 30 minutes during the day will more than likely disrupt your sleep cycle. So just be aware of that. And then limit caffeine intake. Not only does caffeine stay in your system for about 18 hours after you've initially taken it, whether it be through coffee, soda, energy drink, pill, however you're getting your caffeine, it stays in your system for up to 18 hours. It also is going to increase your cortisol levels, which those are your stress hormones. So if you're already stressed out and then you're putting caffeine on top of that, that's like putting gasoline on a fire, guys. So I know and I'm totally guilty. I do love my caffeine, and I'm working on breaking that addiction. But limit that intake. Not only will you be able to sleep better, but you will have more energy. You're going to have that low first getting adjusted, but there are a lot of better sources out there. Mito 2 Max, for example, is one that I really love. It's a supplement from doTERRA that really helps with energy. So oils to help physically support you resting and sleeping. The Daily Nutrient Pack and the Lifelong Vitality Pack, again, guys, you can't go wrong there because when your body has the right vitamins and minerals, it's able to get in a healthy sleep cycle. Now, with oils to promote a restful sleep, I will tell you that I have found that it works best when they are in a pair. So I like to pair my sleep oils together. I don't have a constant pairing. I always change it up. But find a few that you like and then just grab 2 at a time. And you can do it either in the diffuser, topically, or internally if it's marked for internal use. And you don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. Don't use too much because sometimes it can be overstimulating if you overuse it. Kind of like if you give a kid too much like allergy medication, and they get hyper instead of sleepy. Yeah, I made that mistake before when I was a young mom. So had the opposite effect of what I wanted. So oils that I like to pair. Oh, we got to check. Just picking 2. Pairing. A pair is 2. So just pick 2. And this is not a comprehensive list. You can either layer them topically, you can put them into the diffuser, or you can put them in a capsule and take them internally. So just pick any 2 that you like. And these are just a few that I like. And just find what works for you. There really are a ton of oils out there that are very beneficial for sleep, for promoting restful sleep. I like vetiver a lot, cedarwood, serenity, bergamot, lavender, sandalwood, ylang ylang. There's a lot of calming oils out there. Yeah, internally for sleep, I really do like them internally for sleep because I'm lazy, and so I always have a bottle of empty capsules by my bed, and so I can just grab that real quick. I don't have to get up and refill a diffuser, and sometimes I don't like the smell, and so putting a couple of drops of each in a capsule and then going to, and, you know, swallowing it down and going to sleep. It helps a lot. Just don't take it, like take it as you're laying in bed. Don't take it like an hour before expecting to be able to rest. You've got to get in the habit of calming your body down and not just saying, okay, body, now it's time to sleep. It doesn't work like that very well for most people, at least, except for my husband. Like, he can lay down and he hits that pillow and he's out in like 5 minutes, if that, probably closer to like 5 seconds. Okay. Mental rest. This is something that I struggle with. So I have had to really work on this. Again, meditation, we talked about that earlier. And I actually prefer to meditate laying down. So when I wake up in the morning, as I lay in bed, I do a meditation, and I just do it to help my body and mind just be calm and present. And because I'm always thinking of like 3 steps ahead, and my brain is always going a million miles a minute. So for me, meditation is very big. Having some screen-free time. We live in a society that we almost always have a screen in front of us, whether it be TV, computer, tablet, smartphone, you know, GPS on the car. There's screens everywhere. So if you can give your brain some screen-free time, it is amazing for that mental rest. And even if it's just, you know, 5 minutes every hour, getting up, walking around, getting your eyes off of the screen, that is very beneficial. Make lists, get stuff out of your head so you're not sitting there saying, okay, I got to remember this, I got to remember this, I got to remember this. And I know I always do that when I'm starting to lay down to bed. So I always have a notepad on my nightstand. So if I do have those thoughts, I can write them down and they're out of my brain and I can just forget them. Writing things down is huge. I live and die by my Google Calendar, so I don't have to remember when I'm doing stuff. I put everything in there. If I need to call somebody, if I need to pick a kid up, whatever, put it in your calendar so you're not constantly having to try to remember stuff. And then be creative, guys. I think a lot of times we get so locked in the ins and outs of mundane life that we forget to be creative, whatever that looks like for you. If it's playing a musical instrument, singing, painting, drawing, crafting, whatever, be creative. Do something to create something. And it is amazing what it can do for your mental capabilities and stress levels. So things to support your mental health. The Lifelong Vitality Pack or the Daily Nutrient Pack. The DDR Prime is amazing for mental health. Mito 2 Max for me helps me focus so well. It really helps with that mental clarity. Intune again helps with mental clarity. Peace is really good to help calm down that mental chatter. Clary Sage is the oil of, let me make sure I say it right, clarity and vision. So if you're trying to be creative, Clary Sage really can help you kind of get in touch with that creative side. Tangerine is also a really good oil. It is the oil of cheer and creativity, so it can help you be happy and creative. Double bonus there. And then Citrus Bliss is the oil of, what is it? It is actually the oil blend of creativity. So if you're struggling with being creative, and that's something that I do because I'm not a traditional creative person, I have to kind of branch out a little bit because my creativity typically comes with creating programs and systems and stuff. And I need to get a break away from the computer. But using those oils can really be beneficial to help spark that creativity that's in you. Okay, emotional rest. So behaviors for success in emotional rest. Meditation, again, helps process those emotions. Learn how to forgive yourself and others, guys. Forgiveness is so big in helping you just have that peace of mind emotionally. Learn how to process and release negative emotions. And there's lots of different techniques out there to do that. Just find something that jives with you. And it could be something I suggested tonight. You might think that I'm a total crazy girl, and that is okay. Take what works for you and leave the rest. Journaling is very big. I really enjoy journaling to get stuff out of my head. Sometimes I'll just, because I'm a talker, those that know me know I like to talk. I will sometimes just turn on the little voice recorder on my phone and just talk to get stuff out of my head. and then I'll listen back to it. I'm like, really? And I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. I can't even believe I'm upset about that. And I let it go. So figure out what works for you. Again, the tapping, I really enjoy that for emotional rest and processing. We talked about peppermint already, and serenity and time. Deep blue is a really great oil to help you is the oil of surrendering pain. So sometimes we hold on to our pain as it's kind of our badge of honor. And deep blue helps you release that and be okay with letting it go and processing that. And then again, we just came out with that amazing emotional aromatherapy kit that has those 6 oils. It's got passion, console, forgive, motivate, cheer, and peace. And so between those 6, you typically can find something that's going to help, either 1 or 2 of those oils that can help you with that emotional support that you might be looking for. So a lot of information tonight. Hey, and I even got it in under an hour, so that's good. Good job, Nicole. These are the ways to connect with me online. Please friend me on Facebook. You can like my Nicole's Natural News page, although I'm not super active there. Most of my stuff is either going to be on my personal profile page or in my Facebook group. So if you'd like to join my Facebook group, it's called the Essential Oilers. You are welcome to do that. Just make sure we're friends and then send me a request on Facebook for me to be able to add you. And then on social media, I am essential_oiler on Instagram, Periscope, and Twitter. And I do Periscope a lot. That is a live video streaming platform that I really enjoy. And I offer a lot of different thoughts, motivational things, oil usage, business tips, lots of fun stuff there. And then you can always email me at texasessentialoiler@gmail.com. So thank you for joining me. This will be available on the Essential Oiler page group for you to review. Let me go ahead and stop the recording.